Phil Collins, one of the most accomplished musicians of his generation, has built a legendary career as the frontman of Genesis and a solo artist with countless chart-topping hits. Despite his fame, Collins has always been relatively private when it comes to personal disputes or tensions behind the scenes. However, those close to the music industry and longtime fans know that not all of his professional relationships were smooth. One of the most talked-about sources of friction in Phil Collins' career has been his strained relationship with former Genesis bandmate Peter Gabriel. While hate might sound like a strong word, what Phil experienced was likely a deep frustration and personal disappointment rooted in creative differences, clashing personalities, and the pressure of success. Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel were both core members of Genesis during its early days, with Gabriel serving as the theatrical, experimental frontman, while Collins was originally the drummer. After Gabriel's departure in the mid-1970s, Collins reluctantly stepped into the lead vocalist role. The band's sound shifted from complex progressive rock to a more mainstream pop rock feel, and this change led to tremendous commercial success. But despite Genesis' rise, the shadow of Gabriel's legacy and the comparisons that followed lingered over Collins for years. Some fans and critics unfairly pitted the two against each other, creating unnecessary tension that spilled into public perception. Phil has spoken in past interviews about feeling overshadowed and, at times, unappreciated for what he brought to the band's second chapter. On the other side, Peter Gabriel was known to be very protective of his artistic identity, sometimes publicly distancing himself from Genesis' later direction. While the two never engaged in open hostility, there was always a noticeable undercurrent of rivalry, perhaps intensified by the pressures of living up to fans' expectations and staying true to personal artistic visions. What's important to remember is that neither Phil nor Peter were trying to undermine the other. Both were artists striving to make meaningful music, but they operated in different creative spaces. Over time, this divergence seemed to grow into a quiet disconnect. Phil's comments in later years suggested a lingering bitterness not just over the split, but over the way history seemed to credit one side more than the other. Still, even in moments of reflection, Collins has never been mean-spirited. Instead, he has been honest, acknowledging the frustrations while still respecting Gabriel's talent and contribution to Genesis. At the heart of the story is a common theme in many creative partnerships: two strong visions moving in different directions. Phil Collins didn't hate Peter Gabriel out of personal malice. He likely resented the way their history was framed, and how it impacted his own journey. But with time, both men have shown respect for one another's legacies. Their story is not one of hatred, but of human complexity, the kind that happens when great talents cross paths and history takes its course.